on them. And on the revenue side, we pledge to continue working hard to plug leakages and to boost both oil and non-oil revenues. Now let me turn to the global economic environment and address the budget. Now the proposed 2014 budget is being presented to you today, prepared against the backdrop of a fragile global economic recovery and an uncertain outlook for the global economy. The advanced economies are growing again, for which we are pleased, albeit at a slow pace, and emerging market economies face the double challenge of slowing growth and tighter fiscal conditions, especially with the anticipated tapering of quantitative easing by the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. Overall, 2013 global growth was weak, with a preliminary estimate of 2.9% growth for the world economy. Why do all these things matter to us? It matters because Nigeria is well integrated into the global economy, and so we must remain vigilant about developments that happen internationally. The USA and Europe together account for nearly 54% of our exports, while the BRIC economies, Brazil, Russia, India, and China and South Africa, also take up nearly 26% of our total exports. We will therefore need to manage our domestic affairs prudently in the light of the continued global uncertainty and weakness in growth. Added to these dynamics is the changing international natural resources map. The discovery of shale oil and gas in the US, as well as the increased oil and gas output from new oil producers, suggests that we have to be vigilant about lower demand for Nigeria's crude in the near future. And I commend you all to look at the map that is coming up on the screens. Just taking Africa, you see a dynamic and changing oil map. And what has become or is potential competition. Please put up the, yeah. We have 1975, the next one. Look at what it looks like in 1985, in 1995, in 2005, and in 2015. You can see that virtually every country in Africa is becoming an oil and gas producer. And we put question mark for 2025. We will not be surprised if by 2025 every country on the continent is red, because they have huge oil and gas deposits. So we as Nigerians have to wake up. It's not just what is happening in the US with shale gas and oil, where the US is now becoming self-sufficient, and we've seen a drastic decrease in the demand for our oil, luckily made up by demand by the BRICS. Particularly India has taken up that space. But we've seen in Africa what is happening. I think this is a wake-up call to us to look at the way we develop, to really pay attention to the issue of the diversification in the economy. And we need to really work hard to this. This is what President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan has pledged. And if you look at this transformation agenda and where we are really laying emphasis, you'll see that this is the direction in which we are going. But I commend this map to every Nigerian, because it should make us reflect and think greatly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me talk a little bit about the budget 2013. Because the essence of a budget is the outturn in the implementation, because this is how the impact is felt by Nigerians. And Nigerians often say that, well, you can talk about growth, but what does it mean to me? What does it mean in terms of changes in delivery of services, in infrastructure, in roads, and so on? So we need to talk about the outturn of budget 2013. But talking about the outturn, we want to focus not on the numbers or percentage implemented. You will see I will not talk about the percentages, because we don't want to enter into that debate. We want to enter into the debate of what is actually happening on the ground. And on this, we need to preface this by saying that the growth and the progress we see in the sectors could not happen without a stable macroeconomic environment. I think the country representative of the IMF alluded to this. We've begun to take this for granted, but I think that one of the biggest achievements of the Nigerian economy is this stable macroeconomic environment which enables businesses to plan and the country to have stability and uncertainty. And that despite the challenges internationally, the Nigerian economy grew by 6.5% in 2013, driven by growth in the non-oil sectors. And this is where it is exciting. It is actually the non-oil sectors such as agriculture, housing and construction, wholesale and retail trade, telecommunications, creative industries that are driving the growth in our economy. Inflation has remained now at single digits, coming down from 12% at the beginning of the year to 8%. And what does this mean? It doesn't mean that there is no inflation in the economy, but it's coming down, which has a good impact when we look at the cost of goods and services within the economy. The exchange rate has had its ups and downs, but has been relatively stable. And the increased confidence in our economy by the international community must not be wished away. This has manifested in so many forms. In the investment in our Eurobond that was floated, which was 4 times oversubscribed, 72% of those investing were from the US. It comes in the recent description of Nigeria as among the countries that are being looked at as the emerging frontier markets that will do well within the next 10 years. The acronym means Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. Is a new term which has nothing to do, it's not our doing, it's other people that are looking at us and saying that in spite of the well-acknowledged challenges that we have, Nigeria is considered a preeminent country to be among this group of the next frontier markets, provided it does certain things, takes care of its infrastructural deficit, strengthens its governance, and a number of other features. But I want Nigerians to look at this, that whilst other people are looking at us with hope, we cannot ourselves give in to defeat. So, what we are seeing is that we have a basis to build on. And let me start talking about or summarizing a few of those, because I've also got my colleagues who will speak to some of these issues. Feeling the impact of the government's policies in 2013, we went into great length in this document of the 50 questions to describe the areas. And if you recall, when Mr. President held his midterm review, he also went into detail to summarize where those areas were making impact are. The first is job creation. The National Bureau of Statistics has calculated the number of jobs created in 2013 in this economy. 1.6 million jobs were created in agriculture, in manufacturing, through the government's own schemes, in telecoms, in services, in formal and informal sectors. The National Bureau of Statistics has come out with this number. I think this is very good progress. Is it enough? The answer is no. Because we are adding more than 2 million entrants into the job market each year. So we have not yet reached the point at which we can cater for all those coming into the market. And then to deal with the stock of those who are already unemployed. So we are not declaring victory. We are just saying that, one, we now know how many jobs are being created. And we know what the gap is. And we are making progress in that direction. But I know as a human being that if you create 2 million jobs or 1.6 million, and I am not one of those 1.6, I'm not employed, what will that mean? To me, the government is doing nothing. Isn't it? That is why you hear people, even though we created 1.6 million jobs, they say, where are the jobs? Because they themselves may not be employed. The other 1.6 million who are now working will not count for them. But that does not mean that these jobs are not being created? What